Well, this is the complete beginner's guide to Amazon PPC in 2020. It's a step-by-step tutorial that's going to give you the roadmap for PPC success, right the way from launching campaigns all the way through to being profitable with PPC over the long haul. It's going to be an epic one, so strap yourselves in and let's get into it. So welcome to what I hope will be a thoroughly helpful guide to PPC on Amazon. And what I've decided to do with this video is make sure that I've got very thorough timestamps in the description and in the pinned comment below to make sure you can jump around as you need. For some of you, you're right at the beginning and you need to learn the very basics. What even is PPC? What are these terms that people keep using that I don't understand? Whereas for some of you, you might have launched campaigns and you're struggling to get your head around things, but that's okay. There's going to be some gold in this for you too. And I know there's some people out there that hate introductions, that hate setting some context, that hate, that idea of taking too long to get to the meat of the video or an instant gratification generation. I get it. So what I've done is I've made these timestamps for your convenience, right? So you can jump around, you can jump to the sections you think you need the most, or even if you're someone that is a complete beginner and you watch this video in its entirety, you might want to go back and watch certain bits, like maybe the definitions of each of the terms. So you can skip around as is convenient for you. So hopefully that really helps you and serves you well. I really think that this is going to be a video that's going to help a whole bunch of people make a whole load more money and also make a whole load more impact. So I'm super excited about it. And what I want to do with it is I actually want to help some people implement this in their business. So what I decided to do with this video is run a competition. Now, of course, I can't help every single person one-to-one. That's not possible. But someone once said that you should do for one what you would like to do for every one. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a competition and I'm going to give away some free PPC consultation sessions. So if you'd like to be in with a shout of winning one of those, make sure you drop a comment in the comment section below. Maybe let me know what you're struggling most with PPC, or of course at any time anything doesn't make sense or you want further clarification on something, please do drop a question in the comments below as well. Every time we get to 100 comments, I'm going to draw one winner that's then going to get a PPC consultation session with me. I'm going to draw the winners out. I'm going to go live in our Amazon Masters Facebook community, for which the link is in the description below. I'm going to go live each time. I'm going to use a randomizer and I'm going to show it on screen to pick the person that's going to win that consultation session. So make sure you're joined in the group so you can see if you've won and then obviously redeem that session with me. Good luck. Also, this tutorial is going to be very interactive. I've got a whole bunch, 50 or more slides with pictorial things on it, diagrams and things that hopefully are going to really help you. And what I wanted to try and do, again, to resource you even more, is to be able to give you those slides. So if you want those slides for free, you can just go and grab them at any time. It's the first link in the description below. And you may even want to grab those right now, because then you can have them on screen and follow along or print them out and write notes. I'm hoping this is going to be a really interactive learning experience for you. And I know different people learn in different ways. So again, hopefully that helps some people. When it comes to actually getting started with PPC, there's three key phases you need to go through. The first phase in your journey is learning. You need to get some understanding. The second phase of the journey is launching, of course. And the third phase of the journey is improving. These are the three phases of getting started with PPC, how to get set up. And it's important that you embrace these three stages when you're first beginning. Some people are action takers, which I love. I'm one of them myself. But what so often happens with us is we dive in and we launch without doing the full spectrum of learning, and we wonder why this isn't working right. I know I'm not the only one out there that's tried to set up IKEA furniture without fully reading the instructions, not realizing that there were some detailed instructions, I just didn't follow them, and the piece of furniture didn't look like it was meant to, right? And it can be the same with PPC if we don't go through the learning process. So for some of you, this first section, it might seem basic. It might seem like, yeah, I know this stuff, but I've been very thorough in this learning section to make sure we're all at the same level together as we move on to launching. So even if you do have some experience, I would recommend trying to go through the learning phase as well, just to make sure you do understand every nuance of PPC, understand all the definitions and everything like that. The same can be said for trying to improve without having set up your launching right. If you just dive into section 3 of this and think, right, I'm just going to improve my campaigns, but if you haven't followed the process of launching them with the right structure and with the right principles, then those efforts that you put into improving are going to be less efficient than they could be. So I would just encourage you, of course, the timestamps are there, jump around to any section you want, but I would encourage you where possible, just to try and embrace these 3 stages in the journey so that this tutorial can be the most effective for you. My hope is by the end of this video, you'll have a resource that you can come back to time and time again, and B, you'll be ready to launch some campaigns, take some steps into improving your business's profit and impact. All right, let's get into it. So phase 1 of getting started with PPC is all about learning. So first and foremost, what even is PPC? Well, PPC stands for pay per click, sometimes known as sponsored products on Amazon. And this is paid advertising on the Amazon platform where you can actually promote your product on certain keywords or competitive products. So in this screenshot, you'll see that we've searched for a power bank, and these first 4 results that have come up that got the red box around them, they're the sponsored results. These are sellers that are engaging in pay per click advertising. The good thing about this advertising, hence the name, is that you only pay when someone clicks on your ad. So those sellers, they're not paying to be shown on that page. They only pay when the customer actually clicks. So it's a highly efficient method of advertising. You can also show up on the product detail pages of other products like this power bank here. You can see sponsored products related to this item. There are some other more advanced options for advertising on Amazon, but mainly they're reserved for brands that have got a trademark and then are registered with Amazon. And even then, they're only going to really bring you in about 20% of your overall results. What we're going to be talking about today is PPC, that's going to bring you in 80% or so of your results. And we want to focus first and foremost on the stuff that's going to get you those early wins, get you those quick wins, and get you generating some revenue. So that's what we're focusing on today. Is this advertising method, PPC, there's been a major factor in some of these results of mine and my students. See, advertising that's cost very little money, but actually producing great amounts of results. £3,000 in a month and another £3,000 in a month, a campaign that's done nearly £100,000 at a low ACOS, and as you can see here, someone that's done £10,000 in their first month selling on Amazon with the type of training and principles that I'm going to teach you today. This works in all marketplaces, wherever you're selling, as you'll see, Germany, US, Italy, right across all different marketplaces, £50,000 in a month across a range of different marketplaces. So this isn't specific to the US, it's not specific to the UK. This will work anywhere because these are underlying principles that can translate across the marketplaces. These are all results from myself and my students in recent times, so this stuff works. So if we're going to pay Amazon more money on top of the fulfillment fee we pay and the referral fee we pay, why are we going to pay them more money? Real briefly, first and foremost, is for visibility. This is an incredible opportunity. PPC gives you the opportunity to put your product in front of buyers on day one. Like, this is something that the e-commerce revolution has provided you with that didn't exist 20, 30, 40 years ago. Back then, you would have had to talk to store owners, big box stores, and try and get on some shelf somewhere just to get some kind of visibility. And it was an uphill struggle. Whereas now, from day one, you can have some visibility and advertise on the Amazon platform. The second goal, the second reason we want to run PPC is because it provides us with ranking. Selling on Amazon often is likened to the chicken and the egg scenario. You know, we want to get some sales on Amazon, but to get sales, we need that visibility. But how Amazon works is that you get visibility, or otherwise known as ranking, by getting sales. So how do I get sales without ranking, but then I need ranking to get sales? And it's like this frustrating scenario. But what PPC does is it gives us the opportunity to get sales from day one, which then translates into ranking. And the more ranking from more different keywords I can get, the higher I appear in a wider set of keywords, the more organic sales I'm going to make. Third, of course, is profit. We're doing this to make money. We're not running a charity here. We're doing this for profit. But this is, of course, it's good to know this isn't the only goal, because if you went into PPC from day one thinking I want to make profit from day one and that's my only goal, then A, you're going to be leaving a lot of money on the table, a lot of opportunity on the table, and B, you're probably going to be frustrated, because really you need to see the bigger picture and what we're working towards. But in time, we're going to be generating profit with these PPC campaigns. And finally is testing. It's an ability to be able to discover what the customer's intent is, what they're searching searching for, how to broaden our reach, and how to improve those key metrics. And in reality, it's a good thing you're watching this today, because PPC has become so essential in today's market. And I'm going to sort of explain as briefly as I can why. You see, a while ago, back in 2014, ranking a new product, it was a breeze. You literally just had to kind of throw it up on Amazon and just generate a few sales, and you were off to the races. But then in time, things got a little bit more difficult. 2016, we had to really work a lot harder. We had to sort of beg sometimes, yes, please, Amazon, give me that ranking. 2018, it became a bit of a tease. Like, nobody really knew what was going on with the algorithm. Every day, things seemed to change, and it wasn't as easy as it used to be. And in 2020, sometimes it feels like a Bezos squeeze. And now the reason these changes have taken place is because Amazon have had an incredible journey of success. And Bezos and his team realized that actually, if we're going to protect this success, we need to make sure, number one, we look after the customer. And this whole culture of discounted giveaways and incentivized reviews and people gaming the system, Amazon have realized that's not good for their customer experience. And so they're doing what they can to eradicate that behavior. Not only that, of course, they're a business and they want to turn a profit. And so the more money that they can generate from not only their buying customers, but also their selling customers, the more profit they're going to make, the happier their shareholders are going to be. And now some people get annoyed about this, and this fact that Amazon really, it looks like they're driving us towards PPC, because one of the most effective ways to launch products now is PPC. So it's become so essential. People get annoyed about that, about Amazon. But, for me, from my perspective, I embrace it, because I want to be on the platform where shoppers come in their droves, and Amazon is that platform. As you can see, the growth graph of Amazon continues to go up and to the right, and I want to ride that wagon for as long as I possibly can. So whilst everyone else is still trying to work out how to game the system, the latest hack, how to launch products without really any effort, this is our opportunity to be able to understand that PPC has become a necessity. And I'm not just gonna skate around the edges, but I'm gonna master it, because this is what's gonna be the game changer. This is what's gonna separate me from the competition, and this is what's gonna separate winners from losers. And I think, it's time to get PPC out of this too hard basket and actually master this skill, which is going to future-proof our business. It's going to put us in a position where we're so far ahead of the competition because we understand the nuances of it. And it's not easy. It's not simple by any means, but it is achievable when you understand how. And this tutorial is going to help you do exactly that. So follow it along, take the time that's necessary to learn the things you need to learn, and separate yourself from the lazy competition. As we go through this tutorial, I'm going to be using some definitions, some terms that may not make a sense if you are on the very beginnings of this journey. So I wanted to take a few moments just to define these things that I'm going to be talking about with you, so that you kind of can either reference back, like I don't expect you to remember all, I think there's maybe 12, 13 of these. There's some terms and there's some metrics. I don't expect you to memorize all of these right off the bat, but that's why I've given you the slides to download. And also these will all be listed in the timestamp. So if you forget, if I mention one in the video somewhere and you're like, oh shoot, what did that mean? You can skip back and find it and look at the definition again. So I'm going to go through these relatively quickly and not take too much time on each one for the sake of brevity. But if you do want any more clarification, please do feel free to reach out in the comments. All right, let's start with keywords versus search terms, because this is a fundamental piece of understanding that you're going to need when it comes to really being effective with PPC. A keyword, when we talk about a keyword, when we're running PPC, this is what you want to be shown for. So what you're saying to Amazon, hey, Amazon, I want you to show my product on this keyword, yoga mat, for example. Whereas a search term is what the customer has actually typed into the search bar. So for instance, best yoga mat under 20 pounds. So because you've put the keyword yoga mat into your PPC campaign, there's a chance, depending on how you set it up, which we'll get to later, that you will be able to actually show for that search term that the customers actually put in, best yoga mat under 20 pounds. So the key thing to remember, keyword is what you control, what you tell Amazon you want to be shown for. Search term is what the customer has actually typed into that white little search bar at the top of Amazon. Next is match types. This is again a really key piece of learning as we understand how the Amazon ad platform works. Exact match does exactly what it says on the tin. You put yoga mat in, it's only going to match you to when the customer searches yoga mat or the plural version of it. So for this example, yoga mats. Then it comes to phrase, which expands things out a little bit more. What phrase match is it means that the keyword that you put in has to appear in the customer search term in phrase form. So for instance, yoga mat appears there in that first one, yoga mat for the gym, and then it also appears best yoga mat, but it appears in that order. So because you put yoga mat as your keyword that you want Amazon to show your ad for, and you've made it as a phrase match, it means that whatever the customer searches, as long as yoga mat appears together in this order, then it can be shown for it. If it was mat for the gym yoga, makes no sense, but just run with me there, then it wouldn't be able to show for it because it's not a phrase form. It's not stayed in that phrase form. So that's what phrase match is. And then finally, broad. This is obviously the most expansive match type, and this basically takes the keyword that you put in, breaks the words down, and can show for them being in any order. So in this example, mat for regular yoga, it would be able to show for that because it's got both yoga and mat in that phrase that the customer has searched for. But even though it's in a different order, it doesn't matter because you've got it as broad match. So each of them have their uses, and each of them are essential for testing and making sure that you are profitable, because sometimes exact match will convert better for some products and keywords, and sometimes broad and sometimes phrase. So those are the different match types. Really good to get those down. Next up is targeting, and this is relatively straightforward. Automatic targeting is where Amazon decides based on the content of your listing. It's nice and easy to set up because you just say, hey, Amazon, show my product to a bunch of people that you think might be interested based on what I put in my listing. The second one gives us more control, and that's manual, because you select a definitive list of keywords or products that you want your ad to be shown on. So when someone searches for yoga mat extra thick, your ad will be shown there, whereas it might not be for other ones that you don't want. So automatic can throw up some things that are irrelevant, and therefore your ad spend is a little bit inefficient. We'll talk about how to avoid that later on, but manual gives you the ability to really hone in and give some laser-like focus to what you're targeting. So when we talk about targeting later on and what our targets are and how we actually go about that, this is what we're referring to. Next up is the bid versus cost per click, or CPC. Let's talk about what those are. When you see a bid, when we set up our campaigns in a minute, we're going to put in a default bid for each of the either campaigns or keywords. And this is the maximum amount you are willing to pay for one click. It's not the maximum amount you will pay, it's just the maximum amount you're willing to pay. Here's the reason. Amazon's advertising platform works on an auction system. And what that means is, say you have 100 people that are all selling yoga mats and they're all bidding on the term, the keyword yoga mat. They all want to show for that keyword. It means that most of the time, not all of the time, there's a bit more nuance to it, but I'm trying to keep it obviously as simple just for explanation purposes. But most of the time, the person that's bidding the most amount for that keyword is going to win that auction, and they're going to appear at the top of the search results. And then the next highest bidder, the next one, next highest bidder, the next one, and that's how it works. And the reason you won't always pay what you're bidding is because you will only pay as much as you need to in order to win that auction. So you might bid £2 or $2 for the keyword yoga mat, but if the next highest bidder is only $1.20, then you're not going to be paying the $2. You're going to be paying $1.21, $1.22 to win that auction and show that position. And even then, you're only going to pay if someone actually clicks on your ad. So that's why your bid is not always what you'll pay, but your cost per click is what you have actually paid on average per click. So when you see the cost per click stat in your reports and wonder why it's lower than the amount I'm bidding, that's why, because you are bidding a high amount, but you won't always pay it, but the cost per click metric shows you exactly what you are paying. Next up is negative keywords, and these are essential for optimizing your campaigns later down the line, which we'll again look at in this tutorial. But a quick definition is these are terms that you can add to specific campaigns in order to make sure your ad doesn't show when they are searched. For instance, you might be selling a yoga mat, people keep searching for pull-up bars and they keep clicking on your ad and they don't buy because they're not really looking for a yoga mat, they're just being nosy, but they're looking for a pull-up bar. And so then you can go into that campaign and you can put a negative keyword in pull-up bar, which will then stop your ad showing whenever someone searches for a pull-up bar again. That's how negative keywords work. Again, we'll explore those a bit more later on in the tutorial. Next, what do I mean by short, mid, and long tail keywords? Obviously, keywords we've discussed, but what do we mean by these long tail? Well, what are you talking about someone's tail for? Well, really, this is just about the length of the keywords. So short tail keywords are, as the name suggests, short keywords, usually 1 to 2 words. They are generally high volume keywords, and therefore they can be expensive, but if you can rank for them, then the rewards are great. Then mid-tail, as again it suggests, is sort of more medium length, like best yoga mat, extra thick yoga mat, usually like 3 or 4 words. And these can be a good blend of volume, but also not quite as competitive as your shorter tail keywords. But then where we really like to explore and build out is the long tail keywords. Reason being for these long tail keywords is because a lot of people are too lazy to go after them because they take a bit more work. Therefore, they're cheaper. They're also lower traffic, which means that it takes a bit more work because we need to get more of them. But also generally what we find is that they are more specific and therefore do lead to higher conversion rates, which is a term we'll get to in a moment. But these long tail keywords are where we're going to really begin to make a whole load of money in the long term. And so it's good for you to understand about this journey from going not just after short tail keywords, but these longer tail ones too. Often people will just dive in. If they're selling a yoga mat, they just dive in and target yoga mat, not realizing that the top sellers of yoga mats are selling thousands of these every month. They've got thousands of reviews, and it's going to be very hard for little old us to compete with them until we got some of that too. So the key tactic is to go after these long tail keywords that give us more opportunity to rank and to build up over time. So that's what those are. Okay, profit margin, again, I don't want to sort of teach you to suck eggs here, but I want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So profit margins when it comes to physical products, of course, is what you're going to profit after your cost of goods, after your Amazon fees, and after any taxes like sales tax in the US or VAT in Europe. That defines your profit margin. Usually we tend to aim for around 30%, give or take, net profit margin. And that's really important because that impacts what we're aiming for with our ACOS. If you've heard anything about Amazon advertising, I'm sure you would have heard this term ACOS, which stands for advertising cost of sale. It's a very, very fundamental metric that's shown in your advertising campaign reports, and we're going to look at it a lot during this tutorial. And now this is the percentage of generated sales, the volume that has been spent on PPC to generate those sales. For example, £100 in sales revenue that's been created by £20 in ad spend would represent a 20% ACOS. And now what we're aiming for, obviously, over the long term is a lower ACOS than profit margin. We just spoke about profit margin in the previous slide. And so what's good to work out is to really understand your profit margin so that you can shoot for that with your ACOS. That can be your target. It can be your goal over the long term, because you know that if I can get my ACOS underneath my profit margin, that means that every single ad purchase, every time I get a conversion through my ads, I'm making some money. But what's more important, in my humble opinion, is this metric TCOS. I don't see many people talking about this, but it is absolutely fundamental for the understanding how your PPC efforts are impacting your business. TCOS stands for total cost of sales, and as the name suggests, it's the percentage of total product sales volume that's been spent on PPC. So for in the previous example, £100 that's been created by £20 PPC spend. If over time our efforts are causing more and more ranking for our product, and we're getting some organic sales meaning sales that don't come from advertising, they just come because you are on Amazon and people find you organically. If, say, we're getting £100 worth of those sales to go with £100 of advertising sales, that means we're doing £200 in revenue from the same £20 spend, which means it's a 10% TCOS. You might start off with only sales coming through advertising, and this takes a bit of time to develop. But when you track this and you watch this, you can see how much of an impact that your advertising spend is having on your whole business. So whilst you might open your campaign manager and be a bit frustrated because your ACOS isn't coming down in the way that you would hope for it to do sometimes, you can then look at your TCOS and realize that the money that you're putting into advertising is actually an investment that's paying off more than just on the direct return you're getting for sales, but it's impacting your business as a whole because you're creating ranking, visibility, building up your profile on the Amazon platform, and the efforts you're making with PPC have a greater impact than just this one ACOS metric alone. So for this reason that I teach all my students really just to track this and make sure they're aware of this. It's why my profitability profitability calculator that I give out includes metrics around this because it's a super important metric. So make sure that you note that one down and reference it later on. All right, next up is impressions, and this is simply the number of page loads of your ad. It's often defined as how many times your ad is seen, but it's important to note that it's not always when it's been physically seen. So it might load up on page 1 of the search results on Amazon, but even if the customer doesn't scroll down to it, even the very fact that it's loaded on the page counts as an impression. So it's not eyeballs on your ad, it's actually a page load of your ad. So just, a little nuance, doesn't make too much of a difference, but just good to know that. Clicks, of course, is the number of clicks on your ad, simples. And then click-through rate is what ties these all together. It shows the percentage of clicks versus impressions. And this, again, is a super key metric for the area of relevance, because if our ad is showing up loads of times but no one's clicking on it, then there's something not right. Whereas if they are clicking on it, obviously we know we have nailed something. So that's what click-through rate is. Again, we'll look at that in more detail later on. And then finally, conversions, which is what we all love, sales. Sales, when a customer buys your product. Your conversion rate is calculated by taking the amount of conversions and dividing it by the unique visits on your listing. And you can find this metric is listed as unit session percentage in your business reports, and then go to the detail, page sales, and traffic by child item, and you'll see it broken down by child item. A child item is a product variation. So you might be selling a blue and a red yoga mat. The yoga mat is the parent, the blue and the red variations, they're known as the children, the child. And so this report breaks it down by each individual variation of product, so you know which one's converting better and which one isn't. So that's conversion and conversion rate. That's a lot of information, that's a lot of definitions. So look, if you are confused and you don't understand some of those or need further clarification, please do ask me in the comments below. Or remember, you can join the Facebook group where we're talking about this stuff all the time. You can ask questions, we'll hang out and just discuss some of this stuff. So yep, make sure you do join in the link below. That is phase 1 learning locked down. Well done, you made it. So let's jump into phase 2 and get some campaigns launched. And if you learn anything in that first phase, let me know by hitting that like button below. I would love to know that this is helping some people out there. All right, phase 2 of getting started with PPC. Let's launch some ruddy PPC campaigns. What we're going to do is I'm going to teach you 3 foundational campaigns to get launched with today. First one is going to be your automatic campaign. Nice and easy starting point. Amazon does a lot of the work for you. It has its limitations though, which we'll talk about. And then we're going to go into a manual keyword campaign, which is about research, and it gives us more control, gives us more opportunity, and gives us more ability to test. But at the same time, we need to know how it all works and how to structure it right to make sure that we're being efficient. Then we're going to look at a newer option on Amazon that's been launched within the last year or so, which is the ability to target our competitors' products with our advertising, which is an exciting opportunity. Firstly though, let me just talk for a minute about mindset. Now I know some of you just want to dive in, you're itching to get started, I know, but unless you have the right mindset, then you're going to waste a lot of time, a lot of money, and it could all end in tears. I need you to understand, having worked with hundreds of students now and heard their frustrations and heard their cries about PPC, I need you to launch with the right mindset. A rocket, it uses 50% of its fuel in its first mile of a launch, and the reality is so too will your PPC launch be front loaded. There's going to be some expense, there's going to be some investment. This is a marketing endeavor and it's going to require upfront investment. And so what I need you to understand is that you can't expect to launch a new product right off the bat and be profitable. This is a real business. It's going to take some expense. It's going to take some advertising. But of course, with that, it's going to come real rewards. You know, when Apple launched the new iPhone, you don't expect them just to put it in the stores with no word of advertising. You don't expect the new Tesla to come out with Elon Musk getting on stage and throwing a brick through a car window, right? You don't expect these things. You know there's going to be advertising, marketing, big budgets going into it. And whilst our advertising budgets don't need to be that large scale, what's happened is that so many people have been sold this fake dream that Amazon is the golden goose that lays the egg. It's this easy get rich quick opportunity, which, by the way, if you're watching and think that, it's not, and that is not what I teach. This is an opportunity to build a real business, but it is going to require real expense. And so I see so many people getting frustrated by the fact that they are trying PPC and it's not pumping out profitable sales within one day, and they give up. It's like this image, you know, that many of you will have seen on entrepreneurial your Instagram accounts, I'm sure, you're working hard, and you're like, why aren't I getting the breakthrough? Well, what you don't realize is that the breakthrough's coming, but you just have to be committed to the journey. And so I wanted to briefly address that before we get into launching campaigns, because if you're not committed to this journey, then you're going to stop short of the breakthrough. And it will take a bit of investment. It will take a bit of upfront learning. Your ACoS might be higher than you would like initially, but if you apply the principles and commit to the journey, then actually there is incredible opportunity for you, because for every 100 people that give up, there's 5-10 people that actually commit to the journey and say, I'm going to master this and I'm going to be profitable with this. And let me tell you, there are so many people out there making a lot of money with this. So let's commit to the journey and let's get started. First campaign we're going to set up is our automatic campaign. And now this is going to be the structure. I'm going to use a product example, a product that we actually used to sell, don't sell anymore for reasons which I might get into if we have time. But I wanted to do this as an example because I've got the data on it. I've got search term report data, which will make sense in a minute, and I'll be able to analyze it based on real data, and you can kind of see right inside my account, and hopefully that's going to be a helpful exercise for you. When we were selling this pillow, we had a blue variation and a white variation, and so our automatic campaign was set up like this, and this is how I would recommend you set up your first automatic campaign. This automatic campaign, its purpose is discovering new keywords. Of course, it's going to be great to get some sales, it's going to be great to get some initial momentum, but we're not actually doing this just for that. This has a higher purpose than that, and that's to generate new keywords. It's to discover what the customer is searching for, because we're giving permission over to Amazon and its robots to really go out there and find those keywords. So we're going to set the campaign up as the campaign for the pillow. What we want to make sure that we do is that we only ever set up one campaign for one product. Remember, I talked about parent products. So in this example, the parent product is the pillow and the children are the blue variation and the white variation. These are the children here, okay? So we want to make sure whenever we're doing PPC, we only ever put one parent product in a campaign, and we only ever put one variation, one child in ad groups when starting out. And when we get down the line later on, when you're more experienced at this, there are some more complex versions you can do, sure, but when starting out, to keep it simple, to make sure that you can optimize, to make sure you can understand where your money's being spent, make sure you do keep this segregation. Mark my words, you'll be thankful for it. So one parent product per campaign, one variation, one child product per ad group. So let's jump into Amazon now and look at how we set up this first automatic campaign. Okay, if you haven't already, you will need to just activate your advertising section of your account. Once you've done that, just come to the advertising tab, then campaign manager, and then you're going to want to come down here to create campaign. Choose sponsored products. Sponsored brands is a bit more advanced and something that will come a bit further down the line. We're going to start with sponsored products. First thing to do is to name our campaign. Now, we want to make sure that we have really strong naming conventions because this is really going to help us stay organized as we develop more and more campaigns and launch more products. We really do need to have it clearly named so we can work out what's going on. And then also it's going to really help us when we come to do some analyzing and looking at reporting. So what I would suggest is, you determine what is a good naming convention for your campaigns and your ad groups, which we'll look at in a moment. What I would recommend is starting with for the campaign is you put in the name of the parent product. So for this example, pillow, and then in brackets what type of campaign it is. So you might put auto in here, you might put manual keyword, or if you're using other phraseology like sometimes I would talk about your automatic campaign being like a discovery campaign, then your manual being like a research campaign. You can use those, find what works for you, but when you've set it, try and stick to it so you know what you're looking at down the line. So that's the name, and then you can add it to a portfolio, which if it's the first campaign, you can just create one, which won't be overly essential, but portfolios just help you with organization. What we do is we put all of our campaigns for one specific product into our portfolio so we can quickly assess how a product is doing with its PPC right across all the different types of campaigns for that one product. Obviously, you can kind of use it however you want. It doesn't change the settings of any campaigns or anything. It's just an organizational tool. Start date, end date, obviously self-explanatory. We tend to leave it like that. You can put an end date on if you're worried about it spending money without you realizing. But one thing to note is that Amazon won't actually spend any of your PPC money unless your product is available to purchase. So if it's not in stock, or you run out of stock, or it's unavailable for any reason, your ad campaigns won't actually spend any money, so you don't need to worry about that. Daily budget, you can set this as much as you feel comfortable with. For an automatic campaign, Amazon are generally going to spend your money as long as your bid is high enough, which we'll get to in a moment. Generally, they will spend your money because they obviously their system is designed to do that, so you can set that something that's manageable, that you're comfortable with. I would suggest beginning maybe £5, £10, something like that, $10, $15 in the US, something in that region that's not too crazy, that's going to start to generate you some traffic so that you can test things, but yeah, it's not going to break the bank. Targeting, again, if any of these terms, remember, you're unsure on, make sure you do obviously reference back to them in the first part of the training. Targeting for this one, of course, is going to be automatic because that's what this campaign is. And then we're going to look at some bidding strategy. This is something that Amazon introduced recently, like it says here, January 2019. It was around then they introduced it. And basically what it does is it gives Amazon a bit of control to play around with your bidding. And your bidding, of course, as we said, is how much you're willing to pay, max price you're willing to pay for a click. This down only means that if Amazon think that what you're about to show for isn't going to convert as well, then they will reduce your bid in real time. And so that's something you could do to maybe save costs if you trust Amazon. And then the only other one that I recommend is fixed bids, which is obviously where you're going to have complete control over the bid. Amazon will never adjust your max bid amount. I really wouldn't suggest up and down because it means that Amazon can double your bid when they feel it's more likely to convert to a sale. But I just don't know if I trust Amazon enough to use this yet. Feel free to test it. But personally, I prefer to have more control. And, when we come to reporting and optimizing later on, that control does become essential. So that's what campaign bidding strategy is. And, go for the option you prefer. You can, it gives you the option here to adjust bids by placement. So later on, when you're analyzing your campaigns, and you're looking at these kind of stats here, which again are a bit more advanced, so we won't go into it loads in this tutorial, but you might see that your ad is converting more when it shows up at the top of the first page as opposed to when it shows up on a product page. So you can weight your ads more towards that. Again, like I say, advanced strategy, which we won't get into today. Then it's time to create an ad group, and you can, if you've just got one variation, just leave it as ad group 1, that's fine. Or you might want to name it as the variation because you might add other variations later on. So I would recommend doing that. And for your auto campaign, it can just be literally the variation, and that's enough. Next, it's time to add some products. So come down here and we find our product, and we're going to add it in here. If you've only got one product, obviously this becomes a lot easier, but you can find your product, add it over here. Like I said, for one ad group, I'd recommend one variation, one child. So make sure you find the right child, the right color or the right size, whatever it is, add that one. And then with automatic targeting, our options here are for our bids. And again, this option here, set bids by targeting group, is again a little bit more advanced, and it's something you can play around with later on. But just for ease of getting started, much easier, much more simple, just to set a default bid. Now for this, Amazon's suggesting you a bunch of numbers here. They're suggesting you bid £1.53, which you could put that in there, and that's what you're going to be bidding as your max bid. And this range here, what this means is it's giving you a low amount and a high amount. This lower amount is generally what's going to put you at the top of page 1 around 25% of the time, and this one here is going to be what's going to put you at the top of page 1 around 75% of the time. This 25 and 75th percentile numbers that they use, and then a mid-range number here. Now, you can do this if you want, but what I would recommend, the structure that I teach, is that you really should layer your campaigns, and your automatic campaign should be the lowest amount of bidding because you want more of your traffic to go towards your manual campaigns. You want this automatic campaign to be one that doesn't necessarily spend loads of money, but just generates you cost-efficient sales and also is discovering you longer tail keywords. So I always recommend keeping this relatively low. Not so low that you don't get impressions, that your ad doesn't show, because if you put it too low that may happen, but low enough that you can afford the clicks, and and then also you can put your manual campaigns on a bit of a higher bid. So we're going to set the default bid to say £1, and we can always adjust that as time goes on. If we're spending too much or we're not getting enough impressions, we can either move that up or down later on. And then we're going to, you've got the option there to put in some negative keyword targeting right off the bat. Remember, these are terms that are irrelevant to our product, that people are searching, then clicking on our ad. They're not converting to a sale. They're irrelevant. We want to get rid of them. But you may want to put some in right off the bat. For instance, a scenario where you might want to do is if you are selling a blue pillow and a white pillow, and a red is relatively popular, but you don't have a red variation. Firstly, obviously, you might want to think about having a red variation down the line, but if you don't right now and you don't want to show for that because it's not going to convert, you could put red in there as a negative phrase keyword. So anything with red in, is going to be, cancelled out. But I wouldn't recommend doing that because it could just get a bit messy and you could cancel out things that you actually want to show for. I would allow the reports to do the work for you down the line, and you can optimize later on rather than right off the bat. So then you are ready to launch that automatic campaign. You can come in here and we're going to launch the campaign. Congratulations, your campaign launched successfully. Your campaign can take up to 1 hour to process. Now, don't go and quickly look at your campaign report and think, well, why aren't the numbers changing instantly? The PPC dashboard does take some time to update. We'll talk a bit more about that later when we talk about optimizing. Take some time, and you just need to be prepared that there's going to be a bit of a wait. So don't start going and refreshing that page, please, for your own sanity. A bit of a summary there, what we've created and what all of the settings are. The only thing we need to do now is we need to go back into this campaign and we need to create another ad group, because remember I said we're going to have one ad group for blue and one ad group for white. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to go back to Campaign Manager. So in order to create that extra ad group, we just come into that campaign. No data available yet, obviously, as we just started it, but then you can see our blue ad group down here, and then we're going to create another ad group. Then this one we're just going to name white. We're going to add the variation we need. And then we're going to we've got the same bidding strategy because that's a campaign level. And then we're going to set the default bid as the same, which is £1. We're going to leave negative keywords, and then we're going to create the ad group, and that one is set up. So easy peasy to create the extra ad groups. And that is our automatic campaign set up. Bosh, well done. You got your first campaign set up. Pat on the back. And it's time to have a little bit of a review. Make sure you keep your budget and your bid relatively low. You want to keep that budget at a level that's not going to blow loads of money, and you want to also keep your bid relatively low so it sits at the bottom of the campaign structure that you're going to create. And also it means that that spend is efficient as it can be, because there is, just by the nature of it, going to be some wasted ad spend initially, because Amazon's going to serve your ad to some things that are relatively irrelevant in comparison to others. That's just the nature of an automatic campaign, but it's also going to provide you with a whole lot of value too. So and again, just to recap, you want to create one campaign per parent product and then one ad group per variation. And my recommendation would be to never turn this off. If you are seeing rising costs or it's costing you too much money down the line, I would remember the launch mindset, that this is going to take some investment up front, and we optimize on the back end down the line once we've got some data. But if you are getting to that point and it's like, this isn't working out as well as I'd hope, my ACOS is too high, then I would, rather than turning off, what I would recommend is turning the bid down, bringing the bid down, because what that's going to do is it's going to mean that your clicks are cheaper, and therefore hopefully your conversion rate will stay the same, which means that your ad spend is going to be more efficient and it's going to be more affordable for you. So you might not get as much traffic because you're not bidding as high, but it's better than turning it off completely and not gathering the data that your automatic campaign does. All right, next one we're going to look at is the keywords campaign, your manual keywords campaign. And now this is the structure that I'm going to recommend. I use myself and recommend to all my students to use, is the structure whereby you've got, again, the parent product at the top of the campaign, and then you've got an ad group for each variation and each match type. Again, if you've forgotten what match types are, make sure you do revisit the key terms earlier on, match types here are going to be exact, phrase, and broad. We're going to use all three. Some people would recommend, hey, you don't need to use phrase because exact and broad cancel phrase out. I do not believe that at all. From my testing, having done 6 figures of ad spend, phrase is generally the match type that brings in more revenue than any of the other two. There's just something about it, the way it works, that it keeps the phrase together but builds on extra words either side, that just seems to convert really well. It's not to say that the others won't convert at other times. This is why we're doing this. We're doing this to test, because we might have some assumptions go into this. What we think is going to be the best way and the way that's going to lead to more conversions. But actually, customer behavior and the Amazon algorithm can often surprise us, and that's why we have to test. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create 6 ad groups. And I know that sounds like a lot and it feels like, whoa, Ben, calm down. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to keep real good clarity with our campaigns so that we can analyze it later on. So what we're going to do for each of the variations is we're going to create 3 ad groups. Now, of course, if you've only got one variation for your product, you only need 3 ad groups because you just need that one variation, exact, phrase, and broad. Whereas if you've got 3 variations, then you're going to need 9 ad groups because you need exact, phrase, and broad for each of those variations. So if we had a red pillow, we'd need another 3. If we had a black pillow, we'd need another 3 on top of that. So this is where it can obviously get a little bit confusing and complex. But the reason we're doing this is because sometimes the blue version will convert better on a keyword that's exact. Sometimes the white version will convert better when that same keyword is in phrase match form. So we don't know how it's going to work, how it's going to play out. That's why we need to test. And in order to make this test effective, what I would recommend is using the same keyword list across all ad groups. So we take a keyword list, which I'll talk you through how you're going to get in a moment, and you put it into each and every one of these ad groups, and you are testing them against each other. Don't worry, you're not going to be competing against yourself. You're not going to be bidding against yourself to raise that price. Amazon's algorithm is smart. It knows what's going on, and that's not going to happen. So what we want to find is we want to find a keyword list. Here's some things we're going to need. We're going to need that 10 to 20 target keyword phrases. I would suggest mid to long tail keywords to get started, because like I said before, if you go after those short tail keywords, you might get a few sales, but they're going to be more expensive because there's a lot more competition, and also the ranking effect of your PPC is going to be less effective because it's going to take a whole load more sales in order to get that ranking juice. So I would recommend aiming at mid to long tail keywords so that you get the most bang for your buck. Amazon give you the opportunity to put in up to 1,000 keywords per ad group, but we don't want to put anywhere near that many in because we want them to be highly relevant. We want them to be likely to convert. And also, unless you're spending hundreds of pounds or dollars per day on your advertising, then the money's just not going to go towards those keywords. So we want to find the most relevant, the most likely to convert, and get a short, concentrated list of those keywords and pop them into our campaign. So where am I going to find these keywords, Ben? I hear you ask. Well, we can either take Amazon's suggestions when we're setting up the campaign, which I'll show you as I set it up, or what I would recommend is being a bit more proactive than that and doing some keyword research using tools like Helium 10. Helium 10 is my tool suite of recommendation, or something like the search bar extension. I'm going to show you both of those right now. Well, this is Helium 10, and like I say, highly, highly recommended. It is an investment, but like anything, it's an investment that's going to provide a return. I don't see this as an expense. I see this as something that gives me a multiple return in my business. And the tool we're going to use for our keyword research is this one here, Magnet. As you can see, a whole bunch of other tools. If you want a discount for Helium 10, then make sure you check out the link in the description below, and you can pick that up. And we're going to conduct our keyword research in this tool. We're going to choose the right marketplace, whether it's US, UK, wherever you are, choose the right one. And then we're going to put our, seed keyword, how we would most likely describe this. So we're going to put bath pillow in there. As you can see, it gives you some suggestions in here, which you could go with, but we want to go with the highest traffic one to be the source keyword that goes after this. You searched this before? Yes, I have, baby. Let's search it again. When that comes up, I tend to go for new search because that sort of refreshes the results rather than just going after old data. So our bath pillow keyword results have come up, and what I like to do is I like to sort by search volume because that shows me the most popular, obviously from top to bottom, and you can then begin to narrow things down. Now I'm probably not going to want to go for the top ones here, like body pillow 80,000, neck pillow 83,000, because they're not explicitly relevant, but also they're really high search volume. So I'm going to want to do a few things with the filters here to make sure I've got the keywords that I want. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the word count because I want to go for some mid-tail keywords so that they are more likely to convert, so that they're more relevant, so they're less competition. So I'm going to go for word count 4. And then I'm going to actually put in the show phrases that contain bath pillow to make sure that it really is specific for this use case that we want it to be. So we're going to hit apply, and then we're going to see the results come up. And so as you can see, it's come up with 278 keywords. The search volume is way less, and now that is maybe a little bit low. You can probably rank for these really easy, which is good, but you might want to then come in and let's go 3, word count of 3 instead, and see what comes up. See if there's some more juicy keywords that aren't quite as competitive as maybe the top ones. Okay, it's filled a few more in here, not crazy amounts, but let's go through this process, and these are going to be some hopefully really targeted keywords that should be nice and easy to rank for. So what I'd recommend then is just going through these, and you can look at them and see if they're relevant or not. Bath pillow for bathtub, bath pillow for tub, yep. Baby bath pillow, no, we're going to get rid of that because it's not baby bath pillow. Inflatable bath pillow, if it's inflatable, obviously leave it in there. If it's not, I'd recommend getting rid of it. Don't leave it in there just on the chance that it might convert, because there's so many keywords. You don't need ones that might convert. You want ones that explicitly describe your product. So if you're selling like a yoga mat and yours doesn't have a strap, don't include keywords that say yoga mat with strap because it doesn't apply to your product, right? Don't feel like you need to include every keyword. Be a bit more ruthless than that. Get rid of them. Full body bath pillow, get rid of it. Spa bath pillow, yep, keep that one. Gorilla Grip bath pillow, that looks like a brand name, so we'll get rid of that. And then we're going to go through this process, get rid of all the ones that are irrelevant. Waterproof, yeah, that applies. Luxurious, yep, depends on how much you spent on sourcing your product. Bath pillow suction cups, yep, that would apply. Bath pillow for baby. And when you go through this process and find your list of 10, 15, 20 of these keywords that are highly relevant, and then in Helium 10, you can jump up here and you can export it to Excel. So that's downloaded. We'll come back to that in a moment when we set up our campaign. But let's also look at the Amazon search bar expansion. This is a Chrome extension that when you begin to type in here, it's going to come up with these. See how it just flicked out there into this expanded version, and it shows you some other keyword options than would normally show you. For those that don't already know, Amazon actually orders these generally by search volume. It's not every time the case, but generally the most popular searched terms are in order of volume and demand. And so I can give us a good grasp on what are the good keywords to be using. Whereas this tool obviously expands it a little bit more. It puts keywords before what our term is and then after, and then just does loads of other great options. Obviously with this, you can't see the levels of search volume, but it does just, if you don't want to pay for the tools, it's a great free option to be able to use. It's just a Chrome extension that's called the AMZ Suggestion Expander, which you can get in the Chrome store. Just search that in Google and it will come right up, and you can add it as a Chrome extension and it will do exactly that for you. So now we're ready to create the campaign. Come back to your campaign manager, click on create campaign again. This is going to be a new, separate, fresh campaign compared to the other one we just did. So we're going to come to sponsored products again, click continue. And then we're going to name this one pillow again, but we're going to do this one as manual keyword, or you could name it research keyword. Again, your naming convention, whatever it is, but just so you know exactly what's inside this campaign. Daily budget, I would recommend either the same or a little bit more than you're spending on your auto campaign. And then we're going to come to targeting. And obviously we want to choose for this one, manual targeting, because we're going to choose the keywords. Again, campaign bidding strategy, go with the same one you used before. And then in terms of an ad group name, this is where it's going to change a little bit. We're going to do blue. And then for this first one, we're going to do exact. You want to name it the variation and also the match type, because we're only going to use one match type per ad group for testing purposes. Remember, again, just come in and add your product. And then this is where it gets a bit more juicy. We're going to target keywords. We'll do the product one in a moment. We'll get to this in a moment, but we're going to target keywords. And now remember I said that you could use Amazon's suggested keywords. This is where they'll suggest them for you. The dangerous thing here is that they will suggest by all of these match types, because for some reason, Amazon wants you to add keywords in all match types in one ad group, which just baffles me. So you want to make sure if you are going to do this, you only select the match type that you're using, that you've labeled this ad group as, and then the next time you come in, do the next one and then the next one. And so then you could do that and add them all. Make sure again before you do that, you come here to suggested bid and you use custom bid, because otherwise it's going to add them all with the Amazon suggested bids, which you do not want. Remember, you want to set this as a little bit higher than your automatic campaign so that it gets the priority. So in our example, we're going to use £1.25 from the £1 in the auto campaign. And that would be how you do that. You just literally add them all. But if you're going to take the keyword research that you've just done, you can go to enter list, and then we're going to pull up our Excel file. So this is what we just exported from Helium 10. So we'd grab the top 15, 20 for the sake of brevity. I'm not going to check that all of those are relevant, but you just come in, copy those and just paste it in there. Make sure you've got custom bid selected and make sure it's on the right match type, and then add keywords. And those keywords have been added for you there, and those are the ones you're going to be targeting. Again, we don't really want to mess around with negative keyword targeting right off the bat, because we've chosen keywords that we know are relevant to our product, so we don't need to worry about that. This will come into play later on when we do some analysis. So that's it. That's your keyword campaign set up. Launch campaign, and you are off to the races with a manual campaign. Look at you, you are becoming a PPC expert. Then just to recap, you're going to want to make sure you go back in, and once you've created this blue exact ad group, you're going to go back into that campaign, create a new ad group and call it blue phrase, enter the same keywords but choose phrase for your match type, then do that process again, do the same keywords and enter broad as your match type, and then repeat that whole process for the other variations. If you've only got one variation, well done you kept things simple. This is going to be easy for you. But if you've got more variations, then grab a cup of coffee and go through the process again. Doing this is going to allow you to do a whole bunch of testing. It's going to keep it really clear, really defined, and it's going to help you so much in the long run. So make sure you set it up right now. And then finally, on our setup, on our launching phase of this beginning journey, we're going to launch our products campaign. So this structure is going to be a little bit different. We're going to do another testing campaign here. So you're just going to use the parent product in the top of the campaign. But when it comes to ad group, again, we're going to separate it by variation, by child variation. But the two different types of ad groups that I would recommend, now this isn't as fundamental and as key because there's not as much testing that's going to go on here, but this is just the way that we separate things out just to help us get some clarity with it, is that you're going to have an option to give Amazon a list of products, or you can target by category. So I'd recommend setting up an ad group for each one of those, and I'll kind of explain that a little bit more when I'm setting up inside Amazon in a moment. But what you're going to need to get started with this is you're going to want to, again, target not a crazy big list, because you want to be able to test, optimize, and actually spend some money on these rather than just have wasted products in there that never get any ad spend. And in order to find these competitive products, there's a plethora of ways you could find them and the criteria that you could use. But these would be my 3 suggested criteria to get you launched off, get you starting well. Number 1, low review products with high sales, or relatively high, decent volume products that are selling well, but they've got a low number of reviews. They might have just double-digit reviews, even single-figure review count. And then as a new product that you might only have single-figure review count, you can come in, and if they've got single-figure review count and they're doing decent sales volume, then why can't you? All things considered, all things equal, why can't you, right? So you can find a bunch of those products, and you can advertise on their product page, and you can take the eyeballs from your competitor product and get it onto your product. The next category that I would suggest is bad reviews and high sales. So a product that's doing well, it's generating a lot of sales volume, but they've got a bad review rating. Depending on the category, that might be 4.5, that might be 4, that might be 3. In electronics, then 4 generally is a pretty good rating, because electronics always go wrong at times. So there's different levels for different categories, but all things considered, you might want to target maybe 4 stars as a bad level of reviews. And then if you can advertise on products that have low review level, but you have a 5-star review rating, for instance, then the customer's going to see your product and see, oh, this one I'm looking at is only 4 stars, but now I'm going to go on the one with 5 stars. And by doing this, you can hijack their traffic. This product is generating high sales, so therefore it must be getting a lot of traffic volume, so we can then actually advertise on their front yard and say, hey, we're a better proposition than them. And so that's why we're looking at this criteria here. And then finally, what I would recommend is high price that's generating high sales. So you might be selling your bath pillow at $18.99, and whereas all the other ones are at £25, or this one that you're targeting is £25. And again, if all things are equal, the quality's similar, or you've done a good job with sourcing your product, then if your ad shows up as a cheaper alternative on the page of a product that's more expensive, then again, it's a good chance that the customer is going to click through and check out your product. And now the way we're going to find these, where we're going to look is, we can either do a manual search if you want to keep things cheap, or again, we can use Helium 10 if you want to speed things up. I'll show you how to do them both. So as far as a manual search is concerned, it is a little bit more tricky, because obviously you're not going to be able to know the demand right off the bat. There is a way you can do it. You can basically take the BSR, the best sellers rank, which is displayed on the front page here for me, because I've got this Helium 10 plugin, which you can get also in the Chrome store, again for free. And you take the BSR, you can go to junglescout.com/estimator, and you can put the best sellers rank in, choose a marketplace. I'm on United Kingdom because I am in the United Kingdom, Rule Britannia, and it was in home and kitchen. So category, home and kitchen. And then we're going to calculate sales, and it'll tell you a rough estimate. Obviously, this isn't exact, but it's a rough estimate, 257 sales. So you can go in and you can check that, say you found one, 17 reviews. I've got 13 reviews on mine. I can compete with that. I'm going to take this BSR and I'm going to put it in same category and same marketplace. How many is this roughly doing? 274. Nice. I'm going to target this one because it's got low reviews, decent volume. There's one for your list, right? And so you can grab that ASIN from there, or from the product page if you don't have the extension, put it in a list on a notes application, and you can then save that list, and we'll use it in a minute. You can speed that up a little bit, again, by using the free Helium 10 Chrome extension. Is limited uses. I'm in incognito at the moment, so it's not working, but that would pull up all of the aggregated data, including the demand from that. So that's something you can use, but there is limited uses of it on the free platform, so you will have to start paying for it at some point, which again, like I say, it's worth it. It's an investment. I would recommend it, because what I'll show you now is a game changer when it comes to researching products that you want to show for. So with Helium 10, the black box tool is the product research tool. Like I say, it's a whole suite of tools that are just insanely helpful. Black box is for product research, which again is incredibly powerful, what you can do with it. And usually it's for finding products that you want to potentially source and sell. But this is like a little hack for your PPC that can basically give you a specific laser targeted list of products to advertise directly on their listing. So we're going to find some products here. We've got home and kitchen, the category selected, and then you can begin to set some criteria that you'd be happy with. You want to have some revenue coming through at least. Maybe you're selling yours for $18.99, so you want there to be at least 20 your competitors, so that you're going to be cheaper. Review count maybe is 100, just to keep it in a good range. And review rating, you want to set that as max 4 out of 5 stars, so that that there's going to be some opportunity to advertise on some ones that have bad review amounts. Now this is all of them together, so it might not come up with too many. Again, in the title keyword search, we're going to put bath pillow to narrow it down, so it's the exact one we want. So we set our criteria, and this should, okay, only 2 products. So what we would then just do is maybe take out some of this criteria. So maybe we would focus on, we're getting some decent sales volume, but the reviews are low to begin with. So forget all the others, and let's just focus on those, see what kind of options that gives us. Okay, that comes out at 8. So all 8 of these products are going to be products that are generating decent amounts of volume but have low review count. So we could put that in a list and begin to target those. And then we'll come back here and we'd forget about the review count and we just look at the review rating. Maybe we put that at 4 so we can target some ones that have bad reviews. So again, there's maybe some similar ones, but maybe some different ones here too. And we know that this one is generating, $6,000 a month, but it's got a 3.9 star rating. So if we could throw our 5-star rated pillow on this listing, maybe we're selling at $18.99, then we could pick up a bunch of this traffic. So again, we're going to pull this ASIN. The ASIN is here. We can make a list of these ASINs and compile a list of products that we know that if we target, there are some definite reasons why a customer may want to click through onto our listing and then hopefully purchase. So let's take a look in Amazon and see how we actually set this up. Same again, we're going to come to create campaign and then choose sponsored products. And then this time we're going to do pillow. And then we're going to do research and product. Again, name it how you feel see fit. In terms of budget, I would keep this on a similar line to your automatic campaign. Your manual keyword campaign generally is going to produce a lot more results for you. But obviously that's something for testing depending on your product and marketplace. But if you're looking at like a budget allocation, if you're looking at 100%, you might consider maybe 25% towards your auto, 25% towards your product research one, and then 50% towards your manual keyword research campaign, just to begin with. And then you can obviously adjust it as time goes on. So, but just for ease, I'm just going to put £10 in there now. And then again, choose manual targeting, keep your bidding strategy the same. And then for ad group name, you're going to want to do blue, and then you are going to want to put products, because we are targeting products with this one. I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. Come down, select your product, and then targeting. This is where it is a little bit different. Rather than keyword targeting this time, we're going to choose product targeting. And now see how this changes. Instead of targeting keywords, it's come up with some suggested things here. And this is where the testing of different ad groups is coming in. Like I mentioned before, you've got this one here, which is categories. And then you've got this one here, which is individual products. Amazon's going to suggest some for you, which again, you could just use those rather than doing your own research. Especially on this one, I prefer to do my own research because Amazon may just throw you similar products, but we're looking for not just similar products, but products with specific criteria that we can, match and compete with. So this ad group that we created was for products. So what I would do is I would come to products and then go enter list. And then I would grab my list of ASINs that I've created from the research that I've just carried out, put the list of ASINs in here, again, maximum of around 20, just to make sure that they're all getting some traffic and you can test them. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go through every single ad group being created, but when you do come back into creating your ad group for categories, you can come to the categories tab and you can again either choose the suggestions or you can search here for bath pillow and see what it comes up with. Lumbar pillows, bathtub pillows, it's going to begin to come up with different ones that you can, you might want to sort of broaden it a bit. You can test obviously some really refined ones, and then you could test some maybe bath accessories. You could test some wider categories. Again, this is all about testing. Don't put it in bird bath category. You can test it out with some different categories as well as products. Those are the different options for you in this product targeting campaign. Finally, you do have the opportunity to both exclude brands and exclude products. You only need to exclude products if you're targeting categories, because obviously products, you'd be targeting specific products that you want to show for. You can exclude brands, like if you wanted to exclude a big player in your industry that you don't want to show for, then you can add your, add that brand here. Or as well, you can exclude your own brand if you want. Some people like to do that because they don't want to waste ad spend when someone's looking for them anyway. But me personally, if I'm not in that ad spot, one of my competitors is going to be, and they might get the click. So I'd rather just show for that, and I don't mind paying for that. So, but horses for courses, depends on your preference there. So you can add that in if you want. And then once you've done that or not done that, you are ready to launch that campaign, and we are good with our product targeting campaign. Phase 2 in the can. Well done, you are going full steam ahead, and we're getting some stuff done in this tutorial, so well done for sticking with me this far. But in case you thought that was it, the hard work has only just begun, and now it's time to talk about improving. You see, once you've learned, once you've launched, there's always going to need to be the need to improve on what you're doing. As I said, the mindset needs to be investment up front, and knowing that this is going to be something that I'm going to put some funds into to get an investment back, but actually what it's going to create is some data which I can make some decisions based upon. Now, that's one of the reasons I love PPC, is because it is data driven. It's not emotionally driven. It's not, this might work, let's just have a go. It's actually, we respond based upon the data. And Amazon is a data driven company, and they do provide you with a whole bunch of data. So this last phase, again, it's going to get a little bit technical at times. I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible, and I'm going to try and make what seems complex more basic, but there will be times when it does seem a little bit complex, and just bear with me, right? Because if you can grow to learn about the science of this, the data, then you can actually really gain a great level of understanding about what's going on with your budget and your spend, and therefore really improve your results, drive profitable sales, drive increased visibility and ranking in your products, and essentially grow your business at a much faster rate. So this is where things get really interesting. Step 1 though is I want you to do nothing. First thing to do with your PPC campaigns is absolutely nothing. Go make a cup of coffee, go chill out, spend 7 days really doing nothing with your PPC campaigns, because what is so tempting to do is look at it after 1 day or 2 days and think, right, I need to improve this. I've spent £10, but I've made no sales. And there's a few problems with this. Number one, first problem with this is we lack patience. You know, we need to have patience to be able to see a broad range of data to be able to make accurate assessments upon. If we make assessments based on a small portion of data, then we're not allowing the system to do what it does best and test things for us. The second thing that you need to know is there's something called the 7-day attribution window. This means that when someone clicks on your ad, the sale that can actually be attributed to that click up to 7 days on. So on Monday, someone clicks on your PPC ad, they choose not to buy. They've got a busy week on. They're going to research it some more later in the week. Come the weekend, they've got a bit more time. Saturday, they sit down at their laptop and they buy your product, having clicked on it on Monday. That is still attributed as a PPC sale. That will go in your stats, that will improve your ACOS, and it will go down as a sale to PPC, which it should do, right? Because it's your PPC that acquired that sale. And so, but what that means is that if you're looking at your stats on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're looking at those clicks and thinking, man, why aren't there more sales? Well, there are more sales, that they just haven't been made yet. They haven't happened yet, because they are going to happen in the future. The other thing, of course, also is the PPC dashboard can take up to 24 to 48 hours to update. And so if we're looking at it and thinking, you know, I spent 24 in the first 24 hours of my campaign, I spent X amount but don't see the sales, the chances are you have made the sales, they just haven't been updated on your PPC dashboard yet. So please, again, mindset, right? Don't stress out in the first week. This is why I tell you not to set crazy budgets when you first start. You need to be able to set an amount and say, look, I'm willing to spend that over 7 days and not touch it, and, you know, not worry about it, but just willingly invest it because of these realities. But after 7 to 14 days, then you get the opportunity to be able to pull that data and make some changes. And in this part, I'm going to talk you through what those changes are. Now, there are a myriad of different things you can do. There's 20, 30 different criteria that you can improve on and that you can run this process through. And, you know, I teach all of those in the PPC Masters training program that I have. But in order just to get you started, to get you some initial traction and some early results, I want to focus on 4 of the most powerful improvements you can make. 4 areas of improvement. Number 1, conversions, when you're getting clicks but not as many sales as you'd like. Then we're going to look at improving relevance, when you're getting impressions but you're not getting the clicks. And then we're going to look at expense, when you're getting sales but they're not as profitable as you'd like. And then finally, we're going to look at expansion, which is when you are making profit but you're not able to scale that campaign? How do you actually then scale that campaign to greater levels? In order to do this, you're going to need something called a search term report. This is an advertising report that Amazon gives you, and I'm going to take you into Amazon now and show you how to download this. So you just need to come to reports and advertising reports, and you'll come to this screen here, and then you just need to come to create report. This screen has been updated recently, and there's some really good improvements with it. What we're looking for is sponsored products and then search term report, and you want a summary, and then you can choose your period. It only gives you about 2 months worth of data in the past, so you do want to make sure that you're doing this on a semi-regular basis. The good thing that we do have with this option is to be able to create a recurring report. This is a new thing, and you can basically schedule a recurring report once a month, say the end of the month, and then that's going to automatically create that for you. And then all you need to do is come into this dashboard and download it each month. So that's what I would recommend setting up, because then you know that you're going to always have the data on file. You're not going to miss any months and not be able to grab that data. So highly recommend doing that. And then once you've done that and you schedule that report, you'll come back into your advertising reports dashboard, and it'll give you your list of different reports you've created, you've generated here, and you just come and click this button to download your report. Okay, so this is what your sponsored products search term report looks like. Do not be afraid. Let me talk you through sort of step by step what this is, and then we're going to dive into how we can get some data out of it to improve our campaigns. So you've got start date, end date, obviously pretty self-explanatory, currency there, and then you've got campaign name. Now this is where obviously the naming conventions are going to begin to really help you with this analysis. As you can see, I've pulled the data for these pillows campaigns, so we can look at some real data here. Not going to blur anything out or cross anything off. This is going to be real data. Then we've got ad group name, again, where the naming conventions are going to really help. Then we've got keywords here. This will be the keyword that we've asked Amazon to advertise our product on. Where it's got a star is just where it's the automatic campaign, which means there's no keywords because obviously it is an automatic campaign. Match type is going to be broad, exact, or phrase. Customer search term is the term that the customer has actually put into the search bar that's caused our ad to show up and then caused the person to click on it. Impressions, as we discussed earlier, the amount of times it's loaded, clicks and click-through rate, again, as discussed earlier. Cost per click is how much on average the clicks have cost as opposed to the bid amount that we're bidding, and then the total spend for this period of time. I think this is like a month's worth of data. I'm not 100% sure what it was, but something around that time. And then 7-day total sales is one that people often get confused about. They think, well, if I'm pulling 30 days, 60 days, why is it only giving me 7 days worth of sales? That's not 7 days worth of sales. What this metric here is talking about the attribution window. Okay, so it's basically the total sales within the period that you've selected, but it's sales that are being attributed within 7 days of a click. That's why that is that, and it can be a bit confusing, I know, but hopefully that explains it for you. Then ACOS is obviously your advertising cost of sale, the percentage, and then you've got some other things like return on ad spend, and just some other metrics in there. But these are the main ones we're going to be using in this sort of area here. And so there's ways you can sort of organize this and make this more palatable for the eye when you load it up, things like macros to load it in a certain way, and a bunch of different things you can do. But I'm going to just try and teach you sort of the basics from now on. The first thing I would recommend doing is just come into this top row here and putting the filters on. You can do this with Excel or Google Sheets, whatever works for you, and because then we're going to jump into some filtering with these filters in a moment. That's going to help us find this criteria for improving our campaigns. So let's look at the first objective that we're going to improve. All right, first up is improving conversions. Now this is targets either search terms or products that are attracting clicks but not generating sales. We want to get rid of these because they are wasted ad spend, right? And so the criteria for this is at least 10 clicks but 0 sales. And the action we're going to take is we're going to negative exact the search term. I'll explain both of those things and why they're important in a moment. But firstly, let me just address this little asterisk here, at least 10 clicks. Now this number here is determined by your conversion rate. Remember earlier we talked about you can go into your business reports and find out what is the conversion rate of your product. This is based upon a 10% conversion rate, which is fairly average. If you have a 10% conversion rate, it means that you need to get 10 clicks, 10 visits to your product listing in order to generate a sale. And so we know that if you've got at least 10 clicks but you haven't got any sales, then this keyword, this search term, is performing at a lower level than our, what is our normal, what we base our numbers upon, and therefore we want to consider moving away from advertising on that. Now, there are a few caveats that I would add to this. Obviously, if your conversion rate is different, you might want to change that number. If you have a really high conversion rate, say 20%, you're going to want to change that to maybe 5 clicks, because that would, that would mean you would be getting 1 sale every 5 clicks. If you have a low conversion rate, around 5%, then it's going to be 20 clicks, because 1 in 20 is going to lead to a sale. And now, a conversion rate of 5% is going to be very hard to get profitable PPC on, but just bear that in mind. The only other thing I would add to that is that, of course, we're dealing here with statistics and averages. And so if you've ever done any work with statistics and averages, you'll know that, a sample set of 10 clicks leading to 0 sales is not really enough to determine whether we're hitting our conversion rate, because, you may get 28 clicks and then all of a sudden in the next 3 clicks, you get 3 sales, and then you're back within your 10% range. So, there's obviously a balance with this, and some people prefer to be a bit more conservative with their spend and want to sort of cut those things off that aren't making money quicker. I prefer to let them go a little bit longer, because I want to see the data over a wider period of time. And also, don't forget, if you are launching a new product, your conversion rate is going to be lower initially, because you're going to have less reviews, less social proof, and so over time that's going to improve. And so again, you don't want to cut it off too early, something that could down the line earn you more money more profitably once you do have those things in place. So I know that's a lot to consider, and I'm not giving you a hard and fast cookie cutter rule, but this isn't cookie cutter stuff. It's about learning, it's about adapting, it's about understanding what is happening so you can make good decisions in the moment. So let's dive into the report and see just how we might find these search terms. So in order to find these, we're going to look at the filters here. And this first one we're looking at is we want to find products that have at least 10 clicks. So we're going to go to this clicks filter here, and we're going to go greater than or equal to 10 and filter out all of the ones that have that. Then we just want to jump into 7-day total units and then equals 0. And find the ones that are there. So you've got 2 here that we are going to need to address. Just make sure that when we go in and put the negative exact in a minute, that you only do it in the right campaign, the right ad group. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these one at a time. We're going to take home accessories there. Obviously, it's had 14 clicks. It's got no sales. We spent £10 on it. And so if we get rid of that, then that's going to reduce our spend by £10 in the future, all things being equal. And so obviously that's going to improve our ACOS. So we're going to take this one and we're going to note down, this is in the automatic campaign in the blue ad group. And so we need to note that down, take this term, copy it out of here, and let's go into Amazon and add it as a negative search term. So we're in our auto campaign here, and then make sure you do come into the right ad group. So I've come into the blue ad group, and then come over to this tab here, negative targeting, and we're going to add negative keywords. As you can see, I've already added a bunch of those a while ago. So I'm going to add this one in here. It's probably already in there, but just so you can see the process. Home accessories, and then we need to make sure only negative exact is chosen. If you leave it as negative phrase, it's gonna cancel out anything that contains that phrase home accessories, with even if it's got words before and after, which we don't want to do. We only want to negative exact the search term that the customers keep searching but isn't converting into sales. So we're going to add those. Amazon will probably tell me it's already there. That's the reason why that one has come up, is because it's already in there. But in your case, it won't be, so it will come up here, and then you just click save, and then that will get added as a negative keyword. It's called a negative keyword because you are telling Amazon that you don't want to show for it, but it's going to cancel out the search term that the customer is searching for. I know, a little bit confusing at times, but that's the terminology, and that's why we're using both of those terms. So that's our negative keyword added, and again, you would just go through that process for each search term that is hitting that criteria. And of course, if it's like super relevant to your product and you think this should be converting and it's only just over the threshold, then use a little bit of discretion. You have to sort of think through these things. Don't just be too robotic and formulaic. Have a think through it and see what's the best thing for now. But those are some suggested criteria and how that's going to help improve your conversions. Next up, we want to improve the relevance of our campaigns, and this is targets that are generating impressions but few clicks. It means that Amazon's serving our ad for whatever reason based on different search terms or products, whereas the customer doesn't necessarily feel it's worthy of clicking on. It's not getting many clicks. It generally means that our ads aren't relevant. Now, that may not just be on the type of product, that may be in terms of price, that may be in terms of reviews. That search term may be too competitive with other products that are, far more mature than our product, and so it's just not going to work out at this time. So in order to work on this, we're going to look at some criteria. That is that the ad has been served over 1,000 times, 1,000 impressions, and we've got a less than 0.2% click-through rate. 0.2, 0.3 is really the base level of click-through rate you really want to be looking at on average for your campaigns. Any lower than that, and Amazon's going to start to deem it as irrelevant, might not show it as much. You might struggle to get the same sort of traffic and impressions as you would do if it was higher. Amazon, as we said before, is all about the customer experience, so it wants to improve the relevancy, the accuracy of these ads, and so this is one of the major metrics they're looking at to determine this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in, we're going to run this criteria, and then we're going to do the same action. We're going to add any search terms as negative exact keywords if they are fitting this criteria. So let me show you how to find these. This time we're going to come to the impressions column, and we're going to do greater than or equal to 1,000. There's probably going to be a bunch there. And then click-through rate. Percentages are a bit funny here. You need to put, I think it's like 3 decimal points. So what I just tend to do for speed and ease is I just go ascending, just sort it by ascending, and then that's going to put these all in order and keep all of the other data points in order as well. So then you can see, you can kind of highlight the ones that are lower than 0.2%, and then you can begin to take all of these and action them as negative exact keywords. These ones here, if you're wondering what these are, these search terms, these are ASINs, Amazon's standard identification number, and that is products. So that means these will all be according to tied to your automatic campaigns, as you see by auto and the star here. This means that within your automatic campaign, Amazon is showing your ad on certain products, and you can see this one here, it's been shown on this product 12,000 times, but it's only been clicked twice, so like super low click-through rate, which means if we were to look this up, I'm sure it would be something highly irrelevant or really not worth being on. Unfortunately, Amazon doesn't actually allow you to negative exact products. I'm hearing through the grapevine that it might be something that is introduced in the near future, so do watch this space. They have introduced product targeting campaigns, which gives you control over which products you do and don't target, but one of the weaknesses of your auto campaign is it will get served on products, and you can do nothing about that, unfortunately. So no point griping and moaning about that. It's just something to kind of get on with and move on from, and that is obviously where you can, if you're seeing this, you're seeing a lot of these kind of come in and you're thinking, man, there's a lot of spend on products. What you can do, if you remember earlier, we looked at the bidding weighting. You can actually bid more to go onto the top of first page than you do, and reduce your weighting towards product pages. If you're seeing this become a real pervasive issue in your automatic campaign, that's one way you can remedy that. But other than that, it is a case of just sucking it up and focusing more on those manual campaigns to drive profit. But then what we're going to do, obviously, like we did before, is we're going to take these keywords, these search terms, and add them as negative keywords, making sure that we're adding them in not only just the right campaign, but also in the right ad group, right? We don't want to add something that's converting well in one match type into the wrong match type, because it's going to cancel something that might be working. So make sure we're adding this search term as a negative keyword in the right campaign along with the right ad group. So we just follow the process that we did for the non-converting search terms before, and add those in there, and that will again improve the relevance of your ads, which will drive more profit, but also will just improve the efficiency of your campaigns. 3 out of 4 of your improvement objectives is improving expense. Now, these are converting targets that are too expensive. The criteria that I suggest for this is 2 or more sales in the time frame that you are looking at, and the ACOS is actually greater than your profit margin or an acceptable level. Bearing in mind what we talked about earlier in terms of mindset, investment mentality, you might be willing to say, look, I'm not worried about hitting profit straight away. I just want it to be an acceptable level. That acceptable level for you might be 50%, might be 100%. It depends on your goals, your budget, your appetite for investment. And so you need to sort of determine what that is. And then what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking for either products or search terms that are converting, but they are converting at a higher amount than that level that we've set. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to reduce the bid on the specific keyword that's leading to those expensive purchases. So my suggested range of how to reduce these keywords is if the ACOS is at 100% plus, then you're going to reduce it by 40%. So if you're bidding $1 at the moment, and it's converting, but the ACOS is 100% or more, I would suggest bringing that keyword bid down to around 60 cents or 60 pence. And same if you're getting 50 to 100% ACOS, look at reducing it by 20%, sorry. So a $1 bid becomes 80 cents. And then if it's 25 to 50%, you know, it's a decent enough range that you don't want to tinker with it too much. You just want to optimize it slightly to see if you can bring it down. So reduce that bid from, say, $1 to 90 cents, just reduce it by 10%. Those are my recommended amounts, and I'm going to show you now firstly how to find those search terms and then how to adjust those bids in your campaigns. So 7-day total units is greater than or equal to 2. And then again, because of the percentage nature of this, I would just recommend either ascending or descending is going to work. Just get it in order of ACOS, and then we're going to look at 25% plus. First and foremost, these ones here, 25% to 50%. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find what these keywords are, and note that they are converting at an ACOS that is, you know, not too bad, but not amazing either. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to find these keywords in our campaigns, and I'm going to decrease the bid by 10%. And then next category up is obviously 50 to 100%. There's only one in here, so it'll be bath pillows in blue phrase. So I'm going to go into the blue phrase ad group of the research campaign, and I'm going to reduce this bid by 20%. And then these ones here that are a little bit exorbitant, as you can see, they are on the auto campaign. So I've got a couple of options here. I can either just negative exact them so they don't show anymore, or I can actually reduce the default bid of the whole campaign. So it depends on what the other search terms are doing, how they're performing, and you know, that might be a bit of a judgment call for you, but those really are your two options. Let's jump into Amazon and see how you're going to reduce those bids. So you just come into your campaigns and then the campaign that you want. So we're going to look at the research one, and then the blue phrase ad group was the ad group we were looking at to find this keyword, which was blue phrase here and bath pillows here. So we're going to find bath pillows, which is this one up here. So what I would be doing, obviously this is old data, but if this was sort of in the moment, what I would be doing is this bid of 73p, taking 20% off of that. So that's going to be around about 14p, 15p if we round it up. So 68, 58, so that'd be 58p, and then we just click save. Simple as that, right? So this is the bid column here. Just find the right keyword, find the bid, and just take 20% off, adjust it, click save, and you are done. Go through that same process for each of these keywords that's producing the search term performance that's a little bit off where we want it to be, and as we sort of nudge those bids down, it's going to bring those sales down to a sort of a more profitable level. So that's how to improve your expense. And finally, almost there, guys, it's been an emotional one. We are going to look at improving our expansion. How do we actually grow our campaigns? We launch with 10, 15, 20 keywords. We obviously in time do want to grow that out to as many as possible. We want as big a list of converting keywords in our campaigns as we can possibly get. And so we are going to look at targets that are converting at a profitable ACOS. And so the criteria for this is 2 or more sales, and the ACOS is lower than than our profit margin. So what we're going to do with those then is we're going to take the search terms that are performing that level, and then we're going to add them as a new keyword in each ad set. So in each ad group, sorry. So each match type, we're going to add them in so that we can test them in exact phrase and broad, because once we've seen that something converts, we want to see how wide we can take that conversion with different match types. So that's what we're going to do. Let's have a quick look at how to find it in the spreadsheet. So again, we're going to go greater than or equal to 2 sales, and then we are going to look at the ACOS. Again, we can do that by, it already is from last time. Beauty. So then we're going to take these ones here. I mean, I would be tempted to take the 26% in as well, rather than decrease that. I would think, you know, that's a comfortable level for me to know that I'm gonna, you know, be making some money on that, or definitely producing some ranking. And that's how you need to see it as well. If I can make sales at a break-even amount, sure, I'm not making any profit, but I'm increasing my organic ranking, which then is going to lead to more profit. So again, it's all about mentality and what you decide to sort of take as an approach, but that's just sort of my way of thinking. So I would be going and taking those and then take each of these search terms. Obviously, the products can't be put into a keyword campaign, but this is a good way to find new products for your product targeting campaign. So if you find one here, like 8% ACOS on this product, I would go and then take this product and put it into my product targeting campaign, and across both of the variations, or as many variations as you've got, and really test this one out at a larger scale. And so what you can obviously do in time is you can begin to structure your campaigns to really increase the scale. And this is something that I do go on to teach more of in the more intermediate training that you can grab for free. The link in the description is below, where I talk about campaign structure. It's one of the 4 pillars of long-term PPC success. It's where you basically layer these campaigns on each other so that you can have this scale campaign at the top where you've tested these keywords, you know they convert, and you can pump a ton of money into them with confidence, because you know they're just going to keep on producing profitable sales for you. And these would be examples of keywords, search terms, and products that are going to do that for us. So then we can add them into our campaigns as keywords and as product targets, and know that they're going to produce some dollop for us. So that's how to do that one. Well, there we go, guys. That is all of the improvement objectives that we're going to talk through today. Like I said, there are way more, and there's so much more analysis that you can do. And for any of you data geeks out there, PPC is the perfect thing, because you can just dive into it and be consumed by all of the data that is there. But for those of you that, you know, do struggle with it more and don't find it as easy, remember, I'm here and you can reach out to me. And don't forget, if you do reach out, ask a question below in the comments, then I'm going to be giving away a consultation session for 1 in every 100 people that comments. I'd love to do it for everybody, but I'm going to do it for as many as I can. The winners will be drawn in the Facebook group. So make sure that you are a part of the Facebook group if you do want to win that prize. You can find the link for that in the description below. Like I said, I really do want to help as many people as I can moving forward. And in order to try and help you and resource you as much as I possibly can, I do have some things available for you today. Like I mentioned, first and foremost, if you want to download the slides from this, if you're a beginner and want to just have this on file to follow along, to go back, to study some more, or even if you're a bit more advanced and just want a reference point, please feel free to download the slides from this tutorial for free today. First link in the description. Secondly, if you're kind of more at that intermediate level, and you want to look at some training that is, you know, talks more about the mindset, the structure of campaigns. This training really talks about, you know, the 4 pillars of long-term PPC success. They are pre-launch optimization, campaign structure, the keyword funnel, which is like that could absolutely change the game for you, the keyword funnel on its own. And then it is ongoing optimization, where we dive into that at a more deeper level. So there is a little bit of crossover with it, but I would say only maybe 20% of crossover. There's a whole load of new stuff in there that you won't have heard in this tutorial that could be really helpful for your ongoing journey. Again, link for that one is the second link in the description. And finally, for those that do want a little bit more of a hand-holding process, you want to go through and have my help along the journey, then you do have available to you the PPC Masters Coaching Program, which is a program I've designed. It is kind of 50-50 between training and support. There is 11 modules of in-depth PPC training. It's an exhaustive training with PPC. Talks all about mindset, setting up structure, how to optimize, how to do everything you need to do to run highly successful PPC campaigns. but also comes with my full support. It comes with monthly coaching calls. There's a whole stack of bonuses that come with it. And for a limited time only, I'm going to be offering 2 free coaching calls for anyone that's enrolling in the PPC Masters. It's something I only usually offer with the Amazon Masters, which is my flagship main Amazon training. But I'm going to offer it to the PPC Masters, like I say, because my goal is not just to sell you a program and say see you later. My goal is to support you in the best way possible. And so I created this program that costs like a few days worth of the average PPC spend for an Amazon seller. So it's really small investment for hopefully what's going to provide a massive return. I know it's not going to be for everybody and certainly isn't a sales pitch from me, but just so you know, if you do want to take things further, there are these options available. If you've liked this video, please do let me know by hitting the thumbs up button below. And if you want more videos like this that teach you the step-by-step of how to build a real business that is really profitable and makes a real difference in your life, then be sure to hit the subscribe button below and you'll get plenty more videos that teach you to do exactly that. Thanks for being with me on this emotional journey, and I'll see you in the next one real soon.